screen behind Dad's chair, Bloomberg's live feed blared headlines about Zenith Pay's historic IPO. My company's stock had just opened at triple the projected price, instantly making me one of New York's youngest billionaires at 32. As I was saying, Dad continued, his voice strained as he tried to ignore the scrolling ticker celebrating my success. You're not ready for serious business, Elena. The family trust needs someone with real-world experience. The irony was delicious. Here we were at our quarterly family meeting, where they'd once again assembled to remind me why I wasn't fit to join Harrington Global Partners. Meanwhile, the fintech platform I'd built in a cramped Brooklyn apartment was now rewriting the future of global payments. Zenith Pay's AI-powered transaction system is dismantling traditional banking, the anchor announced. CEO Elena Harrington's bold vision. Mom lunged for the remote, muting the screen as if that could erase reality. Elena, darling, she cooed, her pearls glinting under the chandelier. These tech bubbles burst overnight. Now, about that junior associate position we discussed. Junior associate. The role they thought would teach me real finance. After my Wharton MBA. After 3 years of sleepless nights coding what was now a multi-billion-dollar company. My phone vibrated, likely another message from a VC titan or a congratulatory note from a Fortune 500 CEO. Instead, it was from my brother, Christopher, the golden child, heir to the Harrington empire. Family image on the line. No statements about valuation. Keep quiet. I glanced at him across the table, his jaw tight above a Hermes tie. 6 months ago, he'd smirked when I pitched AI as the backbone of future financial systems. Algorithms will never replace relationships, he'd scoffed. Finance is built on handshakes and trust. Yet here we were, Zenith Pay processing more transactions in an hour than Harrington Global managed in a quarter. Another buzz. BlackRock wants a meeting. Goldman Sachs, too. Dad cleared his throat, clinging to control. Elena, this tech experiment? Time to focus on your real future, the family legacy. Their favorite leash, the one they'd tried to wrap around my throat. Until today. Harrington Global Partners had managed wealth the same way for nearly a century, over scotch, on golf courses, and through handshakes in mahogany boardrooms. The junior associate position. Mom tried again, her pearls glinting in the Manhattan light. We'll teach you our methods. Your methods. I finally spoke, pulling up Zenith Pay's live metrics on my phone. You mean like taking 3 days to process transactions our AI completes in seconds? Or losing clients to automated platforms while you're teeing off at Shinnecock? Across the table, my brother Christopher shifted in his bespoke suit, jaw tight. Last week, 3 of Harrington Global's most lucrative accounts had moved their portfolios to Zenith Pay. This isn't about speed, Dad insisted, voice rising. It's about experience, judgment. As if on cue, the muted OLED screen behind him sprang to life. Breaking news, Zenith Pay valuation hits $12 billion, 0 cents. Mom scrambled for the remote, but not before the anchor's voice cut through. CEO Elena Harrington's revolutionary platform is redefining global finance, leaving traditional firms scrambling. That's enough, Dad barked, face flushed crimson. This family meeting is about your future with Harrington Global. No, I said calmly, rising from my chair. This meeting is about your refusal to accept that the future already happened. While you were planning my junior associate training, I built something that made your entire business model irrelevant. Elena Catherine Harrington. Mom's voice cracked with practiced disappointment. This is your inheritance. My inheritance? I laughed, gesturing to the screen still flashing Zenith Pay's meteoric rise. I didn't inherit this. I created it. My phone buzzed again. Another alert. Morgan Stanley wanted a meeting. Goldman Sachs too. Potential acquisition offers in the billions. This isn't how family businesses work, Christopher muttered weakly. No, I agreed, slipping my phone into my bag. This is how evolution works. Those who adapt survive. The rest don't. I let the sentence hang in the marble silence as I walked toward the elevator. Behind me, the TV ticker climbed higher. each digit a reminder of how wrong they'd been. "Where are you going?" Dad demanded. "We're not finished." "Actually," I said over my shoulder, "we are. I have a board meeting for that little tech experiment you thought would fail." Mom tried one last time. "The Harrington name is doing just fine," I cut in. "Check the headlines, just not the ones you wanted." As I walked toward the waiting car on Fifth Avenue, my phone buzzed again. Another message from Christopher. "Dad's having chest pains. This public humiliation is killing him." I deleted it without reading further. Public humiliation was their concern, not mine. I had a financial empire to run. "Miss Harrington," my assistant's voice came through my earpiece. "The Wall Street Journal wants an exclusive. Their headline? The daughter who reinvented banking while her family looked away." A laugh slipped out as I slid into the back of the Bentley. I thought of all those family meetings filled with patronizing advice. Start small. Learn the ropes. Be realistic. "Tell them," I said, fastening my seatbelt, "that the best business lesson I ever learned was to ignore the people who swore I wasn't ready." Through the penthouse windows of the Harrington residence, I could still see their silhouettes clustered around the massive TV, the muted screen glowing with Zenith Pay's valuation climbing higher every second. Their traditional world was crumbling in real time. Sometimes, the loudest rebuttal to doubt isn't words, it's undeniable success. And sometimes, the daughter they dismiss becomes the disruptor they can't stop. The next morning, the Financial Times headlines splashed across every screen. Harrington Global bleeds, clients as daughters, AI platform dominates market. Their stock tanked before Wall Street even opened. Watch the chaos unfold from Zenith Pay's headquarters, a 65-story glass tower overlooking Hudson Yards, its design as futuristic as the technology powering it. My command center's wall-sized dashboard streamed real-time capital flows, billions shifting from legacy firms to our platform every hour. "Your father's been calling every executive he knows," my chief of staff reported. "He's even reaching out to our board through LinkedIn." "And Christopher?" I asked without looking up. "Trying to poach our engineers, offering double salaries." I laughed softly. "He still doesn't get it. They're not here for money. They're here to rewrite the rules." A knock on the door. "Ms. Harrington?" My assistant appeared. "BlackRock's CEO is on line 1, and your mother's in the lobby." The ultimate fixer. Perfect smile, tailored Dior suit. The same woman who spent years smoothing over whispers at the club about her wayward daughter dabbling in tech. "Send BlackRock to Conference A," I said coolly, standing. "Mom can wait, and trust me, you don't want to miss what happens when she walks through that door." Subscribe now and turn on notifications, because the next chapter, it's where the real power shift begins. The pearls were in place, but her fingers couldn't stop fidgeting with the handle of her Hermes bag. "Ellen, you, darling." She started strong, then faltered as her eyes swept across the room. Floor-to-ceiling screens glowed with streams of real-time data, billions of dollars in motion, AI algorithms executing investment decisions in milliseconds. The very future she once dismissed as a fad. "Hello, Mom," I said, not offering her a seat. "Here to finalize my junior associate position?" She flinched. "Your father's not well. This public spectacle? Our clients leaving?" "You mean the clients who chose 21st century tech over golf course deals?" I swiped to display Zenith Pay's latest metrics on the main screen. We weren't just processing trades. We were predicting global market shifts with 99.97% accurate. Something Harrington Global's experienced judgment could never match. "Christopher's drinking again," she tried, voice trembling. "The stress of watching everything collapse," I finished for her. "Everything you refused to modernize. Everything I tried to save before you told me I wasn't ready for real business." My phone buzzed with another alert. Harrington Global had just lost its largest institutional client. To us. "What do you want?" The veneer cracked. "Name your price. We'll make you a partner immediately." I laughed softly, gesturing to the glowing dashboards. "Mom, I'm not interested in clinging to a sinking ship. I own the ocean now." Behind me, the AI flashed fresh stats. In the last hour alone, Zenith Pay had processed more wealth transfers than Harrington Global handled in an entire year. "You're destroying your father's legacy," she whispered. "No," I said, turning to meet her eyes. "I'm building the future you couldn't imagine." My assistant appeared at the door. "Miss Harrington, BlackRock is on line 1. Morgan Stanley's CEO just arrived for the partnership briefing." Her eyes widened. The same firms that had stopped returning her calls months ago? "You should go," I said, gathering my tablet. "I have actual business to run." "Elena, please." Her voice cracked. "We're family." I paused. "Were you family when you muted my success? When you tried to demote me to junior associate? When you told everyone I wasn't ready for real business?" As if on cue, my phone lit up with another alert. Zenith Pay's valuation had just shattered $15 billion, 0 cents. Harrington Global's board had called an emergency meeting. The end of an era had begun. Mom sank into a chair in my conference room, her perfect posture collapsing for the first time in my memory. "What happens to us?" she whispered. "That depends," I said evenly, pulling up the acquisition papers I drafted months ago. "How ready are you for real business now?" My assistant appeared at the door. "Miss Harrington, BlackRock is ready for you. Also, Harrington Global stock just triggered circuit breakers. Trading has been halted." I'd adjusted my blazer. "Go home, Mom. Help Dad and Christopher face reality. I have a billion-dollar company to run." She left quietly, designer heels clicking across Zenith Pay's marble floor, a retreat echoing louder than words. Minutes later, my phone buzzed. Christopher's name lit up the screen. "The board's given us 48 hours, he said, his voice strangled. "Either we find a solution or they're voting us out." "Interesting," I replied coolly. "Now, who's not ready for business?" "Elena, please," he begged. "Everything Dad built, no debt?" "Everything you refuse to build," I cut him off. "When you dismissed AI, when you laughed at algorithmic trading, when you told me I wasn't qualified to understand finance." Silence. Then, finally, I was wrong. "Yes," I said. "And now you're begging the daughter you underestimated to save you from your own arrogance." I ended the call as my assistant spoke again. "BlackRock is on the line. Global offices are ready for the stream." Standing at the podium in Zenith Pay's glass tower, overlooking Manhattan, I thought about those acquisition papers. Maybe I'd save Harrington Global. Not for them, but to make the point. To turn them into a case study on how old empires crumble, and how the daughter they dismissed became the disruptor they weren't ready for. Because sometimes success isn't about proving them wrong. It's about building something so right their doubts become irrelevant. Hours later, I walked into the Harrington Global boardroom. The dark wood, the heavy curtains, it felt like a funeral parlor for a dynasty. I sat at the head of their table as the directors scrolled through Zenith Pay's offer. "These numbers," Christopher muttered. "This can't be right." "Oh, it's right," I said, pulling up the real-time valuation on the screen. "We're offering 30 cents on the dollar. Generous, considering your client Exodus." Dad's hands shook as he read the terms. The once mighty Harrington patriarch now sat hunched over, reviewing a takeover engineered by the daughter he once called unprepared. "You want to dissolve the Harrington name?" Mom whispered, horror trembling in her voice. "No," I corrected calmly. "I want to evolve it. Harrington Global becomes a division of Zenith Pay, a very small one." My phone buzzed. Bloomberg wanted an exclusive. Their suggested headline: "Zenith Pay acquires legacy firm, how the daughter they dismissed built a financial empire." The irony tasted sweeter than any victory I had imagined. "The papers are ready," my attorney said, sliding the thick stack of acquisition documents across the same mahogany table where they once told me I wasn't ready for real business. I remembered their words like fresh wounds. "Dad, finance is about relationships, not algorithms. It's for startups, not serious wealth. Mom, darling, this isn't your world." Now, silence blanketed the room as I signed the final page. "Harrington Global is mine," I announced evenly. "Transition begins tomorrow. Our tech team arrives at 8 a.m. By month's end, This building becomes Zenith Pay's East Coast headquarters. You're destroying everything, Dad rasped. Lee, I said, pulling up our integration plans on the wall screen. I'm fixing everything, starting with your outdated definition of modern finance. The next morning, I watched from my new corner office as workers dismantled the heavy Harrington signage outside. Below, streams of Zenith Pay engineers entered, young, diverse, carrying tablets that powered the AI, making traditional wealth management obsolete. James is here for orientation, my assistant reported. Your father's waiting to discuss his consulting role. I found them in what used to be Dad's office, now stripped of its leather and brass prestige. James looked stiff in business casual, our company dress code. Dad just looked small. Your positions, I began, pulling up their contracts. James, you'll start in algorithmic training. Learn how modern trading actually works. Dad, advisory board, non-voting. You'll help transition legacy clients while discovering why they've been leaving. As they stared in disbelief, my phone buzzed with congratulations from industry titans worldwide. Many included the same observation. Old money doesn't disappear, it evolves, or it gets replaced. Tradition collapsing under the weight of disruption. Miss Harrington, my assistant said, appearing in the doorway. The new trading AI is ready for launch. The Wall Street Journal also wants an in-depth feature on generational shifts in finance. I gathered my notes, feeling their eyes on me. Those same eyes that once looked down with condescension. Still think I wasn't ready for real business? I asked softly. Christopher's voice broke the silence. We were wrong. Spectacularly wrong, I added, walking toward the launch room. The space buzzed with energy. Screens pulsed with cascading data, and a live global feed awaited. My team of innovators, a mosaic of talent and vision, stood ready. Each one brilliant. Each one part of the revolution that had rendered traditional wealth management irrelevant. Welcome to the new Harrington building, I began, stepping onto the platform. Today we transform a symbol of outdated finance into a beacon of innovation. In the back, Mom slipped in. Her perfect makeup couldn't hide the fatigue. I knew why. She'd spent the morning canceling country club memberships they could no longer afford. 5 years ago, this firm told me I wasn't ready for business, I said, voice steady. Today, we prove that the future often comes from those the past underestimates. The screens behind me lit up, displaying Zenith Pay's global reach. AI systems managing more wealth in a single day than Harrington Global had in its most profitable year. The next generation of finance isn't about golf courses and handshakes, I concluded. It's about innovation, automation, and the courage to disrupt outdated thinking. That night, I sat in my new office, once my father's domain. On the wall hung 2 frames, the acquisition papers and the CNBC screenshot of my IPO they once tried to mute. Dad appeared in the doorway, shoulders heavy, voice softer than I'd ever heard. The new systems, they're extraordinary. They're what I tried to show you years ago, I said quietly, before you decided I wasn't ready. He stared at the glowing dashboards as billions moved in real time. We should have seen. You should have listened, I corrected. My phone buzzed, a text from Christopher. Finally understand why you left. This isn't wealth management, it's a revolution. I smiled, thinking of every time they'd dismissed me. Miss Harrington, my assistant returned, tomorrow, global launch of our hedge fund AI, and the contractors want to know what to do with the old trading floor. I glanced at Dad's precious mahogany desk, the one he swore I'd never be qualified to touch. Clear it out, I said. The future doesn't need a relic. I want to hear from you. What would you have done if your own family told you that you weren't ready? Drop a comment below and let me know your thoughts. Your support means everything, because this isn't just my story. It's proof that dreams and determination can break any barrier. If you believe in turning doubt into power, hit subscribe and stay with me for the next chapter. Remember this: never let tradition define your future. The world changes for those who dare to lead. Stay bold, stay visionary, and keep building the life they said you couldn't.